and welcome back to AKA Mama. It's me, Tafara, your Zimbabwean mama bear, raising her son abroad in Germany. And today I'm going to be doing a very special episode, and I'm going to be talking about how this YouTube journey is going so far. So, to my subscribers and returning viewers, you've all been a part of this journey. So a lot of people have been asking me, how's the YouTube journey going? How's the YouTube journey going? Difficult question to answer, but before I get into how it's actually going, I'm going to give a backstory of how this channel even came to fruition. So initially, I wanted to start a podcast with my sisters because I think we have a very interesting, beautiful relationship that could also be entertaining. And I think if we did have a podcast, it would be a great success. But agreeing on timelines and whether to really kick it off or not, we didn't get that up and running. So I thought, okay, maybe if in the meantime I start a YouTube channel, I can learn a few ropes of how to do this thing. And if my YouTube channel is successful, I have a solid case studies to convince my sisters that we start a podcast. What does that translate to? Your support to the success of my YouTube channel could contribute to the fruition of the sister podcast. So watch this space. Anyway, we didn't do the podcast thing, right? So I was thinking, okay, instead of just talking the talk, I need to walk the talk. And then I thought of starting a YouTube channel. And I was like, oh, but what am I going to talk about? All right, so after figuring out that the podcast thing was not going to happen, I decided to embark on the YouTube channel topic. And I did have the support from another YouTuber in terms of identifying what I actually want to talk about, what I'm passionate about, what I'm very opinionated about, and what I'm interested in hearing the opinions from other people on a similar journey is. And in my case, it was a no-brainer: motherhood, parenting. So this is how we got here. So of course, after defining that, I wanted to have a space. I find there's so many topics, so many, in this parenting, motherhood space, that are of interest to me and to other people. I mean, I'm on the phone with my cousins or my friends, and I know one of my cousins said to me, as I was speaking with his wife, he's like, wow, you guys just had a 3-hour conversation about this. This could have been like a podcast or a YouTube item. So, I just wanted to have a space where we talk about real life, parenting, motherhood journeys, the good, the bad, and then to build a community with people that are like-minded or that have similar interests. And so far, one thing I can definitely say is I have a very shy community. A lot of my viewers or friends or family, they slide to my DMs and then they comment or ask questions about the episodes I upload. I truly appreciate that, but I hope that in the future, these comments will be landing below the videos, because I'm having really interesting conversations in my DMs, and I'm thinking maybe there's somebody out there that could benefit from these conversations that we're having, or somebody could have input additional to that. So yes, thank you for everybody that has supported and reached out. But if you have something interesting to share about the topics I'm covering, I'll truly appreciate it if you do it under the videos that I share, so that others on a similar journey situation can also learn from the input that you have. They can add to what you're saying. Anyway, so what have been my big learnings so far? Before I even started this channel, I said to one of my sisters, I'm absolutely going to hate editing. I hate editing. I find it's just so time consuming, and I would just want to be and have whatever it is that I want to have. It's not one of my strengths, so I try to keep it at the absolute minimum. And yes, I'm a couple of weeks into this. I still hate editing, but I just do it anyways, right? Because without it, I wouldn't have this. So yeah, I knew in advance I'd hate it. I'm doing it. Hate editing. It's not one of my strengths. Also not a core interest of mine. But yeah, it's working for now. Ooh, one goal I had for myself when I started, I was like, I just want to be really consistent. Consistency is so important. And so far I've managed, to keep it up. Every Friday I release a new video, because I have friends or family that have started YouTube channels in the past, right? And I was following them on the one hand to support, on the other hand, because I was generally interested and actually enjoying their content. And then they slacked. And it's like, oh no, so you get used to waiting for this video every whatever the interval is. And I was always like kind of bummed when they stopped posting. So I was like, oh, okay. And that's not allowed to happen to me. I know life happens. And one day the day is going to come. But for as long as possible, I'm going to just try and avoid it. So it's been a couple of weeks. And every Friday I've been, releasing a new video. So kudos to me, because sometimes it's challenging. Oh, especially today's episode, it almost didn't happen. Although I'm doing this YouTube thing for myself, right? I also, a couple of weeks ago, I realized that I had a corporate benefit out of it. So I had to present a DEI moment to 282 colleagues. And of course, I feel, there's the certain level of nervousness and anxiety that's normal before you have a big presentation. So I think I would say I had that, right? But when it was time to present, it's like all that just left the room. And I was like, wow, when I was done, I was like, that was surprising. And then I realized that, through these videos I'm taking, speaking in front of the camera to myself, I've gained or I've polished a quality without even realizing it. So, that was a benefit in the corporate world through working on a personal project. Thanks to you all for the support and continuing to watch my videos and for contributing to a corporate benefit, through this space. All right, so consistency is not the only thing that's a challenge. As you can imagine, it can also be challenging balancing camera time with toddler time. And I think it was my second video that I, recorded when my son was napping. And I remember back then thinking, okay, he naps for 2 hours. I've got 2 hours. Like 2 hours sounds like it's more than enough, right? It took me 1.5 hours to set up. Things were just not working for one reason or the other, and I kept forgetting stuff. And then when I finally came around to recording, as I was recording, he woke up mid-recording, and I was like, go back to sleep, go back to sleep, go back to sleep. But he didn't go back to sleep, so I had to abort mission and start again later. So there's, those time management challenges. One just really has to create a clear set timeline, create boundaries, and just stick to them. But that's not limited to YouTube, right? That basically applies to many other areas in life. Overall, I have 1 million topics I want to talk about. So I do have, like, on the notes on my phone, sometimes something will happen. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a good topic for YouTube. So I'll just, briefly write a note. And of course, I try to plan in advance what I'm going to talk about. But then when it comes to actually recording, there are times where I'm like, I'm not feeling this topic. And then I try to convince myself to talk about it, and then I'm like, oh, I don't like it. And then I change it. So long term, I can't continue doing that, because it's like there's some really good topics, but the day I wanted to speak about them, I didn't feel like it. So it's really important to have a clear structure somewhat for myself and also for planning, but maybe also for the viewers. So that's something I want to work on going forward. Oh, I've always been able to laugh at myself, but I laugh at myself even more. Some of the blunders I make, I'm like, who are you? It's it's funny. It's stuff I wouldn't know could happen to me if I wasn't doing this whole YouTube thing. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, but I'll say one of the most interesting things that happened a few weeks ago. So I reached 100 subscribers. I got the notification. I was like, wow, let me create a post for this, because one assumes when you have milestones, you celebrate them, right? I created a post to celebrate 100 subscribers. Thank you, whatever I wrote. And then I posted it. Something very interesting happened. A few minutes after I posted it, 4 subscribers unsubscribed. And that kind of threw me off, because I was like, who the heck are you 4 people? And why are you unsubscribing? Like, what's your beef? What is your beef with a small YouTube channel? But I learned a lesson out of that. You should not celebrate your milestones in public. So yes, I learned a lesson one day when I reached 1 million subscribers. I'm not telling you guys, and yes, I said 1 million. But lastly, one thing that I found so interesting is the number of people that reached out to me and they said, congratulations, I saw your YouTube channel, I saw your videos on YouTube. I'm like, well, thank you. And then you find that so many people have plans of starting a YouTube channel. And for me, it's not like something I'd been planning for weeks or months. It was really between, the time I had the idea and starting the YouTube channel, it was literally less than a month. But I find it so interesting how many people out there have plans to start, these YouTube channels. They're not doing it, they're sitting on the ideas. And I find a lot of them have really interesting ideas, really great content I myself would watch and follow. Of course, my channel is small. I'm a beginner, but it's also nice to know that with the little that I'm doing, I'm inspiring somebody out there. Yeah, that's kind of refreshing. One thing I've been planning on doing, which I haven't come around to doing because I always felt a little lazy to put it into action. I would like to do a Q&A video where you can ask me anything and I'm going to answer the questions that you send. So either you can ask me in the comment section below this video, you can slide to my DMs, or you can drop me an email and you'll find the email address for my channel in the video description. So on that structured topic, I currently have a lot of friends that are either pregnant or in the newborn phase. And I find myself in a situation where I'm like resharing, recycling the same advice, which I absolutely enjoy doing. But let's say in the event that they can't immediately get a hold of me, I thought it would be nice to have a few videos that address some of these questions that keep coming up. And then, I'm happy to share them with my friends or, with their other friends. And if they have questions, they can circle back. The next video that I'm going to be sharing next week, it will be covering what you should do from the moment that you find out that you're pregnant. I think that's a very interesting topic and everybody has navigated that very differently. And here in Germany, it's common to get a midwife during your pregnancy. I know it differs from country to country, but I have a friend that's pregnant and I asked her if she had a midwife. And she said, hey, Tafara, don't laugh, but what does a midwife actually do? And I found that that's a very valid question, because if you've never interacted with the midwife or you've never needed one, you may not actually know what they're there for. This was a big topic for me back then. I'm going to cover how I picked which hospital to go into labor in. Of course, this will apply for here in Cologne, Germany, but I feel like the approach can be adapted regardless of, regardless of where you live. Now, this is one thing I was like, before I was pregnant, I thought I was never going to do it because they were different. I heard, different opinions around it. And in the end, I did make a birth plan. So the following episode, I'll be walking you through my birth plan, why I covered what I covered, why I put it in, and it could be helpful to a few people. And I'll also have a template that you can download in case you're interested. Lastly, on this mini series, I'm going to be touching on the topic of how I packed the completely wrong going home outfit for my newborn. For the amount of research I did about so many different topics, it still baffles me how the clothes I packed, for my son to be discharged in the hospital were totally inappropriate and ended up, having to dress him in something else. I think that's an interesting one and a good one for pregnant moms. So that's it on my end. You have an idea what the next, episodes are going to be. And after I've covered those topics, I'd really like to switch over to focus a little more on, cultural aspects, the differences between, Zimbabwe and Germany, multicultural parenting. Those are the topics I'll deep dive into. But before I do that, please don't forget to send me your questions for my Q&A episode. So of course, if I have no questions, there's going to be no Q&A episode, but I can't believe that you've watched this far and you have not a single question you'd like to ask me. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, because I do have a few returning viewers, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to my channel. And if you know somebody that would be interested in this kind of content, don't hesitate to share with them. Thank you so much for your support and for watching this far. See you next week.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share.